And we are live. How is everybody doing today?
I'm doing wonderful.
Fantastic.
Just got off work. We have Bigfoot Michigan Rob, aka Rick from Porn Stars.
You watch the Pawn Star show. And, you never really know people. You know what I mean? And who knew Rick was into Bigfoot?
Yeah, but Rick would wear a penis cap. As Christy pointed out. I'm sorry if this is a family show.
Hey. Oh, no. I love you, Rob. You know that.
I love you
always
too.
Talk. You're my best buddy. So before we get started, let's tell everybody hello in the chat room. We got Squatchaholic, our moderator. Thank you. We appreciate it. We have Absolutely. World Bigfoot Radio. We got Duke in the house. Yoo! We got Susan. We got Paul. Excuse me if I don't say y'all last names. We got my wonderful friend Sharon. She was not too far from me. We got Parkway.
Some chick named Christy Sci-Fi. I don't know who the heck that is.
Yeah, I don't even know who she is either.
You know. Hi. And then another one at the top called StreamYard. I don't know what that is either.
I don't know what StreamYard is either.
So
let's see.
Thank you for being here, though.
Yes, thank you. Thank everybody for being here. Okay, you started off. So, Cal?
Well, as always, we always like to start the show off as with a simple question as what got you into the topic? We've heard everything from experiences, curiosity, movies such as Christy. You know, what got you into the topic?
All right, that's my cue. Yeah, you know what? I've always been interested in weird stuff. I'm kind of weird anyways. Even growing up as a kid, I was always interested in like science fiction. And, I came across a Bigfoot book probably in grade school, 5 or 6 years old, 7, whatever you can start reading. I could read pretty quickly, growing up. And I always liked science. And the Bigfoot thing, I read a book and then I saw the Patty video. And that was about it, though. After that, I went on. Life goes on. I graduated from high school, went to college, and that was it, and started my life. So what really brought me onto the subject full fold was when I did have my encounter. It was 2 years ago in June. And that, in an effect in itself, seems like a long time ago. I remember this thing as clear as day,
Like a video in your head.
It's like, a photograph. I don't have a photographic memory, but the encounter certainly justifies a photographic memory, As I was alluding to earlier, you, Cal. What's your name? What's your first name?
Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin. As I alluded earlier before we came on the show, that was 2 years ago. And over the 2 years, I've done a lot more reading, a lot more. I'm not a researcher and investigator. I own a bar. I work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's the minimal. And with this COVID, it's been even a nightmare. I've been shut down. I've been closed. So for me to go out and be an investigator and a researcher, that's going to happen when I retire. I just can't because, that's my baby and that's where I make my money, my living. With that being said, though, my opinion has changed quite a bit after watching different researchers. I only follow 5 or 6 people that I view as credible, and the rest you can take with a grain of salt. My encounter was in Cadillac, Michigan. This happened, as I said, 2 years ago in the summer, June. What started out at the time, my girlfriend and I, we went to take a little weekend, and I simply went to the lake just do some fishing. Rented a little boat, and I took it out to Cadillac. And where we went fishing was Lake Cadillac has two lakes. It's got Lake Cadillac, and then there is Lake Mitchell, which is where I had the encounter, was at Lake Mitchell. And this lake is beautiful. It backs up to the Huron-Manistee National Forest. Wexford County. Wexford County has been known for several encounters over the years as I've dug into it, not only with Bigfoot, but with Dogman. So, and I did not know any of this, obviously, prior to 2 years ago. At any rate, we're fishing. We start out on Lake Cadillac, and I take the boat through a canal, and I go to the southwest corner in the bay of Lake Mitchell. So I'm drifting along shoreline. I'm maybe 100 feet out from shore, maybe 150. As the story progresses, I continue to progress closer to shore by about 70 feet at the closest. Anyway, I'm at the captain's chair, guiding the boat, and I'm setting up the bait, the rigs for my pole and my girl's pole. So I have my head down, and she's out there staring into the water, and she says to me, "Hey, Rob, someone's throwing a rock towards us." I'm like, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah." She saw a rock come from the tree line and drop 20 feet in front of the boat, make a splash. I'm like, "Okay, honey, it's probably a fish jumping out of the water. I mean, come on, whatever." Because I happen to take a glance. There's nobody there. I go back about my own business, taking care of the fishing pole. And she turns to me again. "Rob, I'm serious. I just seen another rock." I'm like, "Okay." And I really just dismissed that, kind of blew it off. Like, just, okay, whatever. I happen to look up, and I'm not looking directly into shore, but I just happen to look up in the air for a moment, and I see something fall from the sky, right? And it's a rock. It's maybe half the size of a baseball. It plops in the water in front of me. I'm like, holy. I look at her. I says, "Man, you're right." And she's like staring straight ahead, like still in stillness. And I look, and on shore, hey, I see this creature. I'm about 7,500 yards, or not yards, feet from shore as I drifted closer. I'm looking at this thing, and it was like I was in a dream. It's like all of a sudden your senses are really pronounced, but in your conscious, but you also think you're like in a daydream.
Like everything slows down and life starts going in slow motion.
As I talk about this probably took off 20 seconds, but I will talk about it like an hour,
Right.
And I look, and it's a creature. I call it a creature. When I talk in all my interviews, I say creature, I say beast. I don't come out and say Bigfoot. And I'm looking at this thing, and it was reddish brown. It had been 9 foot tall at the shoreline, and I'm looking at it, and it appeared human-like because what it reminded me of was an older person with Down syndrome in the face, so it looked human-like. And I'm like, what is that? Now, this Bigfoot creature, it lifts his arms, parallel to the ground, looks at me, opens his mouth, and lets out this screeching yell that I have never heard any of these animals. It's not like any animal I've ever heard. And the crazy thing about this, it kind of exhumes like a force or what have you, because the shoreline created like a wake, and waves kind of started rushing towards the boat. But I'm so preoccupied with this creature, because when I say creature, I mean it, because I'll even go further than that later, because the face contorted into something opposite of what I was just looking at. It reminded me of the It opened its mouth. It was like a Pac-Man mouth. Went to its ears. It totally scared the bejesus out of me. Opens its mouth. It didn't have no fangs, but it had like longer canines. It didn't have the typical chiclets, that Bigfoot has, but the face turned from that fleshy, grayish, wrinkled face into a tight, monstrous thing. I mean, I can't explain it. It looked like a devil, a demon, like you would see in a book or on a movie. But as it lets out this screech, his mouth is wide open. The rush comes to the boat. My girl falls off the side of the boat into the water. I hear the splash. I can't move. I know she's in the water. Rob, help me. I cannot. I'm frozen in like time. It seems like, but I was just like paralyzed for like a half a second because I tried to move there and I just snapped my head, break out of it. I pick her up, pull her into the boat. Now, you guys, the scariest part of this is when I get her in the boat and I look towards shore and this thing's gone. Now I panic because I don't know where in the hell it is. And I just, kind of turned the boat around and I beeline right back to where I had picked up the boat from at shore and got out of the boat, docked it. My girlfriend, it's the summertime. It's, this happened too around noon. There wasn't a lot of traffic in the bay I was at. And put a blanket on her. We get up and I look for the closest bar. We find this little bar. We get in. We find a corner booth in the back. She's shaking. I don't know. I'm still kind of wondering what the hell I'm looked at. My girlfriend don't even drink at the time, and I order a beer and a shot, and she gets a shot, and that's really unusual for her because she don't drink at all, or didn't drink at all. And I'm like, we're looking at each other, and she's like, what do you think that was? I said, honey, I think we saw Bigfoot. And she says to me, I think we did too. So that weekend was cut short. She wanted me to report it to the DNR or what have you. I don't know why I did it. In retrospect, what I know today, 2 years later, I probably should have. That'd been cool. I didn't know nothing about the BFRO. I didn't know nothing about anything. Not that the BFRO is anything big, but I just didn't. I just went home. And since then, obviously with my work, it takes up a lot of my time. But ever since then, I've been investigating the best of my abilities to figure out what the hell these creatures are, And it's something I'll never forget. It was terrifying, and, it was a bad encounter, I've said that I've told this story on different shows, maybe this is like the 5th or 6th show I've been on. I am who I am. I don't care if people believe me. I'm not out for publicity. I'm not out to be popular. I'm popular enough at work. So to say it, to tell the story again, and I always admit, because, 2 months later, my girlfriend passed away, And at the time, I kind of thought it was Bigfoot creature, It wasn't. She was perfectly healthy. But then I find out about infrasound, which we both probably got struck with, So I'm past the blaming Bigfoot for her, Life goes on, right? And but it was just at that time, I was just a ball of nerves. And I know many people have great encounters. Mine sucked. And the more I learn about the thing is this, it's like, I don't even know. If you'd asked me 2 years ago if it was a flesh and blood creature, I'd say yeah. But now even that, the way it even looked, the way it just, did what it did was just kind of creepy. I've talked to several people still think it's Bigfoot. I do too, but people have told me if you get mad at somebody, you can contort your face and not look like yourself. So I get all that. But I really don't know. And I still, to this day, I'm not 1,000% confident it was even 100% Bigfoot or flesh and blood, So I still, to this day, that still nags me. It still nags me. And I've talked to several people that I respect that say it's Bigfoot. I don't know. Because I've never heard a story like mine. And I've heard varieties of stories,
Right.
And today, I just need answers still.
Well, unfortunately, you know, just like all the rest of us, we're all asking the same thing. We just want answers. And that's where we're at with that right now, you know. I mean, that's why we do this podcast is there is so many similar stories from one end of the spectrum to the other. There's something going on. You know what I mean? You have this group of stories, you have this group of stories, you have this group of stories, and they're from all over the world. So that's where we're at is we don't discredit anything. You know what I mean? So, well, I just I could tell you some definitely odd stories for sure. You know, I never had a visual on what it was, so I couldn't be sure. But I've had definitely some very, very unexplainable things happen. So whether or not it is Bigfoot or not, I don't know because I never had an actual visual sighting on what it was at that particular time, you know. But there's definitely a lot more to the phenomena than people think they are when they say, "Oh, they're just flesh and blood." No, they're something more than that, for sure. I'll tell you that right now.
You know, it's too tough to differentiate too between, like I say, like I said, I'm not, you know, as I said, I'm not a researcher. I'm not out there doing it. Do I plan on doing it down the road? Yeah, because I can't go off what other people say. As I stated earlier, I definitely respect their opinion, right? And like I said, it's all opinions. No one's professionals. No one's an expert. But there are people that know what they're talking about that I personally know. And I kind of, you know, go by their guidance. But, you know, it's such a night and day occurrence because it's like 2 years ago, hey, it's for flesh and blood, some sort of animal. But now it's like, wow, what in the hell was I really looking at? And it's funny. So since I've done I put a video out, you know, and I've been on a couple of shows. So I've been inundated with emails over the last couple of years and viewing my, you know, responses and stuff. And there's a guy, and I've getting a lot of people in Cadillac think there's something out there. I went back to Cadillac last year, not really to look for it. It was just to have to get some release from after my girl passed. I just wanted to just go back, not even to look for the thing, and went to the area and said a prayer and moved on, you know. But right. I'm getting calls from people that, and I look, because if you go on Google Maps, it's very interesting because, and I'm definitely next year, once COVID's done, once I feel that I have time, I can leave. I think next summer, if you look where this encounter happened on this map, there's a chain, there was in the bay, there was a cutout, and you know, and it was a pretty rural area. There are a lot of houses in Cadillac and on Lake Mitchell. This area is no different, but Lake Mitchell's less populated, although don't get me wrong, there's people. But there is this channel cut out in the bay that leads back into a swamp. And this swamp, I looked on, it goes way back into the forest, into the Huron-Manistee National Forest. And this guy was telling me that he's taken, you can only get in there with like a small boat with a little Minn Kota motor because the water kind of levels off 3 feet. And he's traveled through it and sent me some pictures. And he's showing me a picture of an abandoned boat. It looks like it was abandoned on shore. And there were actually holes punched in this boat. And there was things, clothing and everything left behind. And it was there. And he's seen like a net that was like set up to catch fish. Now, whether a human did that, who knows what to say that was all about, because it's not a place I'm going to set a net to catch fish. So it just seemed kind of odd to me that I looked at that. So, yeah, you know, And the thing too, if you're dog talking Bigfoot, you know, this seemed like you typically they're not by themselves. You know, in my opinion, they're not just going to sit there and be maniacal with you, throw rocks, scream, and yell at you. He might have been pissed off because I was in his area where he fishes, or maybe he was, you know, kicked out of his tribe, you know, with his family unit, you know. So who really knows? Could have been one of these rogues, you know. I don't know. These are all the things I'm, you know, interested in. And as a result of my encounter, I've learned about other things, you know, as I alluded to earlier, you know. You got the orbs around the Bigfoot. Now you got in Wexford County's got dogman sightings, you know. People say, wow, that's a dogman. Well, no, it wasn't a dogman. It was a gugway. Nah, he didn't have a snout. Flat nose. He had a flat nose, everything. He just looked like a creepy demon when he turned. You know, other than that, he was totally a Bigfoot-looking creature, you know. We don't know what's out there, and that's what intrigues me, man. I can't do it. Like I say, I got to do what I got to do right now for my living. But, man, I really am just biting at the chops to get out there to see what the heck's out there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more to this world than what people see on a day-to-day basis with their eyes. You know what I mean? I do definitely guarantee you, if someone were to, such as yourself, you know, walk out there with a more open mind, you would start to notice some abnormalities, you know, for sure, you know. I definitely think the powers that be know a lot more than they're leading on to.
For sure.
Saying they know, which is probably a lot of the reason they don't come out and say, hey, yeah, they're real and they're this and they can do this, this, and this.
Yeah. You know, there's so many factors in the powers that be, you know, because, you know, just to name one, the government, you don't want every Yahoo running in the woods. And you know what? You don't want to scare, you know, the logging industry. I don't know. I haven't looked at that. That's still an opportunity for money here in the United States, right? I mean, you don't want that industry shutting down because all of a sudden we got Bigfoot running around. You know, you don't want, you don't want, you know, people that just going out for, you know, craps and giggles, just looking for this thing. You know, an area with
one thing I agree, man, is the logging industry. I mean, it's a multi-billion. That's with a B. $billion industry a year. If that shuts down, this country fails. Not to mention you have all the other smaller industries such as recreation, which require trucks, boats, jet skis, camping gear, all kinds of stuff. You know, fuel, gas. No one's going to be going out to these places. They're not going to be buying gas. You know, it definitely comes down to money, for sure. Absolutely, money. At the end of the day, I believe a big part of it is money, for sure.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what's out there, and they know what's out there. Yeah. I'm confident in that. I think most of us are.
Absolutely, absolutely. So maybe someday we get the right person in office. That may be disclosed. You know.
You know, too. Yeah, I know where you're going. For those reasons we just discussed, I don't even know if I want disclosure. You know, I'd rather have it as a mysterious creature. Because if they disclose Bigfoot exists, man, they're going to kill these things, right? I ain't into that.
No.
Right.
You're either going to scare people out of force, or you're going to bring a bunch of, excuse my rednecks from the hills coming down with shotguns trying to kill them. You know,
yeah, you're going to have a.
You know, I would go out and work for them. You know, I'd be out there trying to research them down the road when I retire or whatever from work. But could you imagine? Look what happened with this pandemic, how everybody's going crazy. Can you imagine if they say Bigfoot is this? How crazy this world that's just another thing that you have to worry about. You could go out hunting and get shot by some guy because he thinks you're the Bigfoot creature. I mean, literally.
Yeah, you're gonna have a fall in economic, lumber and logging. You're gonna have a fall in recreation, but gun sales are gonna go up, ammo sales are gonna go up, and you're gonna have every Yahoo on the planet trying to find one for that ultimate trophy hanging on their wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're gonna shoot at everything that moves.
And I'm going to tell you something. What I seen before it turned into a demon, I ain't hanging no human-looking face on my wall. You know what I mean?
Right.
My social life, trying to pick up women, would be over.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a leaf blows in the wind, you're going to have Yahoo over there. Kaboom!
Yeah.
Kaboom! I mean, it's just going to make those beautiful areas very unsafe for anybody.
And you even bring up a point here about the beautiful areas. We've got, I don't know what the numbers are, I knew what the number was, but as far as we have billions of acres that haven't even been touched by man.
Oh,
if
yeah.
Bigfoot was proven that he's out there, you're going to have all our beautiful forests knocked down. They're going to go there with bulldozers. They're going to go through with everything, and they're going to take away our natural habitats.
Yep.
Just to get them out, just to scare them out.
Right.
Which brings up the point about California, where you have these forest fires going. Now, there ain't no Bigfoots being scared out of the woods. I wonder what up with that too. But they're clever. I think they live underground myself, so that's where they're at. My opinion, of course. I never stated anything.
I think you could be onto something with them living underground, from what I've discovered in my areas, but it's a really, really touchy subject when you talk about disclosure. You're gonna have all the yahoos out there shooting at anything that moves, or you're gonna have people protesting to get rights. So either way you look at it, we don't get to enjoy those areas. It's going to be either send in the bulldozers to tear it all down, or because that's cheaper than trying to fight back and everything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're going to have all those areas with a stroke of the pen closed off to all public.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see Duke here made a good comment. He says people are hunting Bigfoot now because the government doesn't disclose it, and I can agree with that too. I mean, I think that's a very valid statement. Because there are people, that want to grab it. Prove its existence, and who knows? I think in my opinion, it's a rock and a hard place. And
unfortunately,
for me, I know they exist, so I don't really care if they're disclosed because I know they're there. And I don't want to keep it as my own little secret with the other 500,000 people that maybe have seen one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's my thing. I'm glad that I know what I know today.
Right. I have to agree with Duke.
Yes.
Also, unfortunately, people are out hunting them right now because the government doesn't disclose it. They don't come out and say, yes, they do exist, and we have protective rights on them or protective laws on them. Some states do. I know Washington does, and I know Oregon does. So, they don't come out because it's just it's a delicate balance, It's a delicate balance, and it's a touchy subject.
I think, in my opinion, I think that they have some that are good, that have trust in certain people. Like the stories that you hear, they pick certain people to associate with, to interact with. But then again, they don't like people because of our destruction of the way we think, the way we feel. You know, it's like when we always say, when you step your foot in the woods, they know what your intentions are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like Rob's intentions wasn't to do anything, but this one that he saw, he visualed, you know, this one was a bad one. You know, and that's his perception of his encounter is what made him feel and say, hey, you know, this thing was aggressive towards us. You know, on our level of what I've been through and what you've been through, we've had somewhat decent encounters, interactions, you know. So maybe one day, if you get out there, Rob, and you might have one that's going to be totally different.
Yeah.
It's going to set a different vibe for you.
Chrissy, I agree with your point about me. I'm not totally soured on it. Unfortunately, I had that bad experience. And then you look at other things. You look at the Glag saga. That's a beautiful story, right? That
Yes.
is
Absolutely.
that's plain data in my story. My encounter was the opposite of that. It wasn't even close to that. That encounter is a beautiful story. The way I look at Bigfoot today, I'm not scared. I don't think they're evil. There's bad humans, there's good humans.
Right.
There's bad Sasquatch, there's good Sasquatch, right? That's
Right.
how it is. And any
They all have
element,
different personalities.
you know, you can take a tiger. One tiger is more aggressive than another. One hunts more than another. One eats more than another. One eats enough to satisfy his palate. One just does it to do it. And that's how it is at natural selection.
I agree with you. You know, I absolutely agree with you. They have completely different personalities, just like people. They have different temperaments, just like people. They have different tastes, just like people. So, I mean, you know, and unfortunately, with Duke's comment, with science and the scientists, the way they are today, it is absolutely going to take a body to prove them. And you can't send it to a mainstream university to do it because it'll just disappear. We never received it. We don't know what you're talking about. And it goes away. You know, you're going to have to get a private, reputable, scientific, you know, group of people willing to take this on, because I know a lot of scientists, if you say even the word Sasquatch or Bigfoot, they'll hang up the phone on you.
I wouldn't even want to do that. I wouldn't even want to turn a body in. Why, you know?
Right. So, I mean, you're going to have to either learn how to do it yourself and be for the cause, have the money to back it up with all the equipment to properly do it, you know, and just do it privately, secretly, completely under the radar in order to get it out. But unfortunately, Tony Stark isn't available.
Yeah.
But Daryl is.
But Daryl is, yes, Daryl is absolutely available. So,
you know what's cool too about that is, like, I watched a show which I'm not going to offer an opinion on it, but it was this guy, I forgot his name. He's the new owner of Skinwalker Ranch, right? And he had that little series on A&E or whatever. Again, I won't comment on that, but what I'll say is, what I like, it would be great if there was a person that had that type of money that did that type of poured that research into the woods. You know, you got to live there, right? In my opinion. And like I say, I think if you go looking for them, they're going to find you, right? You're not, if you're dead set on finding one, you're not going to find it. I think most of us can concur with that. But, you know, if you were a millionaire and you could just put up a shelter in the middle of nowhere and live off the land for years, and maybe have the technology somehow sporadically dispersed throughout the nature, throughout the forest, you might catch something. You're not going to catch them on a camera. You're not going to catch them on a trail cam. You're not. I don't care what. You could have a $20,000 video equipment. You ain't going to get a clear shot, my opinion.
Yeah.
You know why? They're smarter than us.
Well, I said it before last weekend. I said it, they adapt to their environment. They don't try and change it. So they are masters of their environment. Humans change the environment to suit them with the concrete, the asphalt, the technology, and because of the way they do things, it brings them closer to that whole part of one with Mother Earth, so to speak. You know what I mean? And everything, it's been proven that everything vibrates, everything resonates a frequency, from the wood we build our houses with and the doors we open and close to the metal made, that make our vehicles. Everything has a frequency and a resignation.
Mm-hmm.
So,
just like we're all energy.
Exactly.
Everything's energy.
Yep, everything's energy and everything is connected. So it is.
Why I'm laughing. I'm not going to say it. I'll tell you after, Rob.
Is it have to do with my head again?
No. No.
I don't know why I put up with that girl, Kevin.
Because you love her.
I love her.
Yeah. What's not to like? You know what I mean? She's a great person.
She's a lovely
personality. Everything about her is.
She's A-okay.
Yeah, A-okay. So
Kevin, let me turn the tables. Let me ask you a question. What is your thought? What do you think they are?
Well, by my personal experiences and solely my personal experiences, they are not a physical being with paranormal abilities. They are a ancient paranormal being with physical abilities. So just the opposite of what everyone tends to believe.
Right.
So
when you say ancient, are you looking at, okay, because I know some people that believe like Nephilim, they believe they're fallen angels that dated with human women. You tend more towards that, or you more a paranormal phenomenon?
I think they're actually more ancient than the Nephilim. I think they go further back. And I think over the millennia, they have seen.
Well, that's going back way since Noah's Ark.
Watched from the tree lines, human civilization develop and the destruction we've caused to the surrounding areas, and to ourselves. And they've decided to, hey, let's back off a bit,
Hey, Gordo.
Gordo is a mess, but he's right.
Yeah,
the last part of that sentence, he's right.
I know. That kind of substantiates where I stand with what they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just based on my personal experience.
And that's what's so great about the subject. That's why everybody's got their belief, and nobody's right, nobody's wrong. That's what makes it so crazy. When you think you know something, you don't know anything.
Right. And I think definitely with all these people out there now and cameras and all this stuff being found, we still only scratch the surface.
Oh yeah.
You know, we're you got a 50-gallon barrel of sand, and the information we have is literally one grain. One
For
grain
sure.
in that sand. You know what I mean? And I think in the future, science as we know it, along with history, is going to be rewritten to let these scientists know that they don't know nothing. They were wrong the whole time. The way the universe works, the way energy works, the way resonance and frequencies work, they're all wrong.
Right.
And it's going to be a very rude awakening one day for them when they say, hey, all of our philosophers, Darwin and all this, you know, famous people throughout time are all wrong. You know, Einstein, all wrong. You know, I'm not saying that he is, but I have a feeling it's going to go that direction soon.
Right. For sure. And you think that, okay, since you're open to that, what about, do you have a belief in the portals or the quantum Bigfoot?
Well, let's
And I
see.
bring that up only for certain things, it's like, and I don't know what I believe or don't believe with that, with the disappearance, I've heard people say that, hey, when they appear out of nowhere, it's like they appear with a glow of light. And it's like, then all of a sudden they're gone in an instance. Now, I never would have thought or said of this 2 years ago, right? But then, the more you kind of look into this, the more things you hear. I don't know if it's Gump or not, but you know what? You hear so many of the same stories. People aren't lying, because I hear 1,000 people say the same thing, and that just further mystifies the Sasquatch.
Oh yeah. I can't say any names or what it is, but I've been privy to information that would prove all that. So
Interesting.
I know a lot. I've been sworn to secrecy and all that stuff, and I've been entrusted with certain things that I cannot discuss.
Yeah.
But
Well, I get it, because I see both sides of the story, because and I know this ain't private information, but if you look at Ron Moorhead, he wrote the book on the quantum Bigfoot, right?
right.
He's been on many shows. He believes there are enough of them, and such. So I don't myself, but I don't know if I'm right or wrong either, right?
Tom Cantrell also. We've had Tom on the show several times, and he's an absolutely incredible person to talk to. He is 100% genuine, and in his experiences and the way he tells it, absolutely. And he's been doing that for almost 60 years.
Mm.
Who, Tom?
60. So yeah, he started 2 years before 2 or 3 years before the Patterson video.
Yeah.
So that's how much information Tom has. And he's right along those same lines, that there's something more to them. I think it, like the different personalities and the attitudes and stuff like that. Same thing. Some choose to use it, some don't. It's all an individual preference. I've been in areas where that's the only thing they go to is that paranormal crap. And then I've been in areas and stuff where all they were physical. It's just like people raising a child. Your child is going to be brought up the way you see fit to bring up the child, with your beliefs and your ideology and all this stuff, you know what I mean? Because you're raising the child. Same thing with them. They raise their children, and they raise them the way they feel that they need to be raised. So, this rabbit hole gets really deep. This rabbit hole there's no light at the end of this rabbit hole right now. So,
well, that's what's exciting.
Right.
Again,
Right.
But it's
going
It's
around that
impressive.
next corner, not knowing what you're gonna find.
For sure.
It's a
And
Pandora's box.
yeah,
Opens up
sure.
and keeps going. Let me
Yeah.
tell you.
And
Just make sure you don't open it yourself.
just like we
Yeah.
were talking before, you started with a certain frame of mind, and as you've gotten into the subject, you've done a complete 180 degree in what you think. And I'm sure there's thousands and thousands of people out there that have done the same thing. I know I'm one of them.
And next week I'll probably be different.
That
Interview next week will probably be well, now I think.
I spent 6 years doing the same thing you did, armchair research, theoretical research. I like to call it theoretical research because armchair researcher is just so derogatory in this topic. But I looked at the structures and I looked at the signs, so I didn't go out there completely blind. I knew what I was looking for. I knew areas that would be good to find it and stuff like that. And again, like the theory, you don't have to go out there looking for them; they'll find you. I absolutely 100% agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But from the time you pull up into an area and you close that car door, they're watching you. They're watching you. And
Absolutely.
I also know that the average population human is completely oblivious to their surroundings at any given time.
Oh, you could. Yeah, the average human's probably walked past them in the forest. Then they've been feet in front of them.
I've done this in my area now, and I've done experiments where I literally sat 10 feet off of a very populated trail, and no one noticed me. Sat there for 2.5 hours. No one noticed me except for one person, and it was a 5-year-old child. And that 5-year-old child tugged on mom's leg and said, "Mommy, there's someone sitting in the bushes up there." She never even bothered to look at me. She said, "No, there's not. You're just seeing things. Come on, let's go." Grabbed the stroller and kept walking. Never even looked.
Yeah, that's true too, because I believe that wholeheartedly, because psychology of the child, their mind is open to everything around them. Like us, as we get older, our minds are closed. We're more straightforward. You filter a lot of things where a child doesn't filter anything.
Right.
You tell me the last 5-year-old they lied to somebody. They didn't lie to you. They
Right.
don't know what a lie is until they get to a certain age. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the 5-year-old that spent 3 nights and 3 days out in the woods with a bear, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then magically set him directly in the center of a bush without destroying.
Yeah, without no cuts on the child, right? He was all perfect in perfect health.
Yeah,
You and I couldn't taste him back there without
not a
screwing
scratch
up
on
everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was amazing.
Yeah. So I definitely think what you put into it is what you get out of it. I've been told by my group through a person that I work with, lose all fear. Don't worry about it. Don't be scared. Just go. And I do, and I've had excellent experiences since then. Don't be scared of the mountain lions or the bobcats or the rattlesnakes. Just go. You'll be fine. And Lewis, North County Bigfoot, he's been in my area, and I have a picture of him sitting in front of the cave, and with 2 Bigfoot sticking their heads up over the bushes watching us. And I sent that to him, and the response was, "Oh, hell no," because Lewis doesn't want to see one. And I told you they follow me everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're literally, where I'm at is literally where the city meets the woods.
Okay.
Or the city meets nature. It's right there.
Yeah.
and they literally sit 60 feet, 60 to 80 feet off of a very well known and traveled fire road. People use it to walk their dogs, go hiking, to ride their bikes, and they just watch people all day long. And how I came across them was just purely by accident. It was purely by accident. I got tired of sitting around, and I went, you know what? I'm going to go walking around up there because I used to ride my bike up there. I got thousands of hours logged on my bike up there. But I'm usually going, 35 miles an hour down a freaking mountainside. You ain't got time to stop and smell the roses,
Yeah. It's funny too, because like you say, they can be anywhere. They can be in a suburb. They can be up to anywhere. It's funny you're saying how they watch us. I don't know if Duke's still in the show, but he always says we're their television, we're their entertainment. They laugh their ass off watching us and how stupid we are in the woods and how we respond to certain things,
or not respond because you're just oblivious to your surroundings. They're
laughing at us. We could be walking a foot past them. They're laughing because we didn't even see them.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, that's how I found my group right now that I'm visiting. I was literally 3 feet from one in a bush. I didn't even see it. Never saw it. The only reason I knew it was there is because it growled at me. So I jumped 8 feet to my left, not knowing that there was another one, another 7 feet to my left, watching all of this unfold. So, it just, they're here. They've been here. They're older than people think they are. And they've seen humans evolve and do what they do, which is why they keep their distance.
Yeah.
They've seen Civil War, they've seen World War I and II. I mean, they've seen destruction of their habitat. The forests and stuff are getting smaller and smaller because we keep filling it with more and more concrete and asphalt. Like I said, they adapt to their environment. We adapt the environment to us. It's a big difference. So,
absolutely, that would be great. You just mentioned something I just thought of real quick. That would be great, man. Bigfoot, but they're hundreds of years old. I would imagine. I don't know. Wouldn't that be great to actually have communication with one and have them tell us stories of the Civil War or what it was, with the dinosaurs roaming the earth, if they were around then, who knows? According to your opinion, you think they might have been, but that's another subject for another time.
Well, there's a couple of channels you may want to check out. You can check out Into the Veil and Ken King, Arkansas Bigfoot.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Definitely check them out. They have some pretty amazing abilities, and they may answer a lot of your questions, to be honest with you. So just check out those channels and stuff, and I can vouch for them 100% for sure. They're definitely genuine and true and 100% no BS.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I'm just snickering at Duke's comment.
Right.
I don't know if Duke subscribed to your channel. I texted him. I said, hey, but if you're not doing it, check out the channel. Christy and me. I didn't even know you, Kevin. So I'm glad to see Duke made it and anybody else out there. I'm going to pass the word on your channel. I think down to her show. Good interview.
Yeah. You know what? Duke's right there with me. Bigfoot's older than dirt. Not that dusty road dirt, but that good black stuff they use for gardens. That's right. He's absolutely right. I mean, I have to agree with him again. Once again, Duke, I gotta agree with you 100%. So
when I was talking earlier about my go-to guy, he's my main go-to guy. He got me on Gary Wayne, that Nephilim stuff I spewed out at you. I learned that. Right. He told me to read the book, man. So he's my go-to. He's a good guy. He's one of the credible guys, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, you know.
I will have to say this, and I'm Duke, I love you to death, and I'm not trying to give you a complexion. His stories are so good. Just like what you said with the Glag. When I first got into the Sasquatch deal, listening to the different stories, that one popped up, and I listened, and you know me, Rob, driving around in my truck delivering parts, and I listened to that story from front to back. And he's also had some different people on the show that's very good. But that story just the way he did it and talked to Kevin, it was just phenomenal. I loved everything about the story. I love the way he does his work.
Yeah.
He is honest. He doesn't sugarcoat nothing,
Right.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to say no names, and Duke knows where I'm going with this. Most of these people that are on these podcasts, and I'm not bashing nobody, they never had an encounter. So how the hell are you going to sit there and people ask you questions? Well, when you're sitting in the woods and you hear something crunching, that is that a Bigfoot? And a person on a podcast. Yeah, well, I think that is a Bigfoot. Did you turn around and look? Did you sense? Did you smell? Did you see? No. Well, I think it was a Bigfoot. No.
Well, Christine, can you tell me about your encounter with the
I know what Oh, wait. I got to stop. We got to stop.
Yeah, we do. Hey, I don't disparage anybody. You poke a little fun once in a while is fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Rob, have you, other than going back that one time just for your peace of mind, have you been back there to actually touch base on the subject? Because I think in that story I heard that there was a big red barn. And
big red barn.
So someone had contacted you, or you talked to somebody and said, "Hey, was there a big red barn? I know the exact area." And I had an experience there.
Yeah, they did. I've had a lot of people in Cadillac contact me on that, and that was not too far from my encounter area. And in fact, when I described this one guy, I forgot his name. I mean, it's been a while back since I read it. He was saying that everything I described, he knew exactly. He knew exactly where I was in the bay. He knew exactly about the canal. He knew exactly about the little fingers that went back in the swamp. And he was the one that pointed out to me about the boats that he had seen, the one boat that was wrecked back in there. But every person that lives in Cadillac knows exactly what I described, where I was. In fact, I even sent Christy. I don't have the picture, but there was a YouTube. It was like a 50-second clip on YouTube that I sent to Christy, which shows the actual bay. I don't know if you saw that, Christy, or not.
Yeah, I did.
Exactly back where I was. And and everyone says, yeah, this guy's not full of crap because I explained everything how it was, and which I don't care about anyway. But just to say, it made me feel good that they knew I wasn't BSing them, right? Because I was where these people live there. Rob, I lived here 25 years, and they've heard sounds. I haven't had anybody come across to say they've had an encounter, but I've had people say they've heard some knocks, they've heard different yells and screams from various emails I've received over the last couple of years. In fact, I've been invited by 2 different guys to come out with them and go looking. Here's the thing with me, as I stated earlier, I just, my job is my life right now. I can't leave it. I got people I can let run, but until I'm ready to sell it, I'm not going to be hitting it up. When I do, I'm going to, and I've got some other ventures I'm looking into in the subject. And, but yeah, I love it. I just love talking about it. I love reading about it. I hate just being an armchair guy because they aren't credible. I don't listen credible. I'm not saying they're not credible, but when you're out in the field, man, I dig it. I want to hear what you got to say when you're in the field. I can tell you what I'm telling you today just by watching a video. But until I'm out there, that's where it's all at for me down the road. But I'll continue what I'm doing, and I'm happy with it. It's what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with the whole armchair thing because, hey, for 6 years, that's what I did. But you learn.
How I look, I'm prepping it this way. Any job you get, you got to start at the bottom, right? So before you go in the woods, you might as well research everything you can.
Exactly.
Right? And you can apply those practices and principles too when you're in the field. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Right.
And I listen to good people, and I try to stay away from what I filter out as irrelevant.
Right. And it's like I spent my younger life, as a teenager and everything. I used to race mountain bikes, and that would take us up into the woods, these huge areas, for mountain bike races. And topic never even crossed my mind at that time. It was just about my bike and about the racing and all that stuff, and never even crossed my mind, never even touched base on it. And once I got into the subject, it's like, hey, I remember one time where I went to go pee on that tree, and a little rock hit me in the foot. I wonder, things start coming back, especially when you spend a lot of time out there.
I will tell you this. You're right, because I have been in the woods throughout my life, but just as a kid or a young adult, just screwing around. Next time I go in the woods, I'll look at the woods differently for sure. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I'll be investigating when I'm out.
Yeah.
Being open-minded to what's going on.
Awesome. Well, we are up on our hour.
We could go a few more minutes. Look what Duke said.
Yeah.
That's 3 for 3, dude. That's 3 for 3. I gotta agree with that.
I love Duke.
I know he's such a good person.
We do. You know what I mean? The armchair people get such a bad rap. Oh, they don't know. They've never set foot in the woods and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But after reviewing thousands and thousands of hours of the stuff, you start to see similarities between people's stories,
Here's what I don't get either, right? I'm not going to be the guy in the woods with a camera going like this for 2, 3, 4 flipping hours. I'm not going to bring one. I'm going to be like looking with my naked eye. I couldn't do that. Hell, I look at half of these videos. I don't even still know what I'm looking at. Oh, did you see that? No, not really. Outline it for me, would you?
Do you see that?
Yeah. It's a big ass.
It's a blob butt.
It's a blob butt.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I agree with you on that one.
Well, yeah, good show.
It's like what Duke and y'all say. It takes the people who go out into the woods, puts the boots on the ground, not flinging a camera everywhere. Just going out and touching with nature, just kicking back and sitting, having the campfire, having a tent set up, camper, or whatever you want to do. That's when they'll show up.
Yep, I agree. And the only reason I'm here today is why? I seen it. I never would have met anybody in this community had I not seen one.
That's right.
So I'm doing what I'm doing today until I can do something further down the road.
I gotta agree with that. Me and my wife had gone camping with some other family members, and one of those family members was like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm not buying any of this." You know what I mean? And he's like, "I spend, thousands of hours out in the woods." Well, wonderful. You're not the only person that spent thousands of hours out in the woods and haven't experienced one and never even knew it, walked right by one and never even knew it because of the vibe you could put off.
Absolutely.
So
It,
You know?
it's a 50-50 question and a 50-50 shot, you know? And there's going to be more encounters and interactions coming out.
Well, yeah. I mean, it seems like anywhere and everywhere I go, I can just pick a freaking random spot out in the mountains, and within a couple hours, I'll find something. I'll find a structure. I'll find something. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go left. Well, instead of going left, I go straight up over the hill, and I find these two huge structures. Well, how come I didn't go left? I had a plan to go left down the hill, but yet I went straight across and over this hill and found these amazing things. Or, I'm walking on a trail and all of a sudden I feel like I need to go that way. Well, that way is a big outcrop of rocks. But I go that way and I see footprints going around the rocks. And I look down and I laugh. Well, I go up in the rocks and I find a structure.
Yeah.
It just, our frame of mind out there has a big thing. It's our frame of mind out in the woods is big with them.
Yep. I like to get to that point too one day when I'm out there. But I tell you what, though, since that encounter, since going on the various medias and networks and shows or following you guys, as I told you, I always like weird stuff anyways. Even as a kid, I read Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal stuff. And it's really, I venture into all that stuff now. I'm not just one dimensional, so to speak. I dig it all, and it's expanded my and all the stuff's connected in my opinion too,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that I don't look into is that demonic devil stuff because, man, I'm not inviting that into my life because that's something that scares me more than anything. So I don't do it. But other than that, I like the rest of the stuff. And I'm happy that I had my encounter. I'm happy to share my experiences and such, and I'm looking forward to just moving forward.
Yeah, just got to get that time to get out there and I would definitely. Well, I want you to go back to that red barn and see what's inside that red barn. I don't doubt.
I just think I think it looks like an ice arena, broke down ice arena.
Well, here's the thing: it may look like an old old broke down ice arena, but when you get in there, I don't doubt if you find a corner of it stacked full of twigs and leaves and like a bed. I don't doubt if that one you saw may have been using that barn as a shelter.
Perhaps. Good point. I never thought of that.
Never could tell.
Be interesting to see what it looks like inside there, that's for sure. Yeah. Who knows? There may be nothing now. It may have, good gust of wind may have come and knocked it over. Know. You never know. So, point is you got to get out there and you got to see for yourself.
Absolutely. I'm 100% in agreement.
But you also got to know when you walk in those woods, you got to see the signs.
Right.
Absolutely.
The telltale signs.
Yep. And it goes from little tiny signs to, hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. You're giant structures.
Yeah, you're not going to get that, wow, here it is sign. It's always the little minuscule things you got to look out for. You got to be like a surgeon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probing the anatomy.
Absolutely.
Yes. 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 And it's phenomenal what you can see in the signs you pick up, from the structures to the footprints to something laying on the ground, something that's out of place, and you see that. That's just like when we went into the woods and when me and Scott discovered that first X that we seen in Mississippi, the two sticks that made the X, one of those sticks didn't look like it belonged there, like it was from a different tree, you know. And Scott is into what is that? He's got a degree in
arborist.
No, forestry. And he was saying something about it, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of weird, you know, because I saw the X. I was the first one who seen it, and I said, look at this, it's an X. Oh well, you know, I got to debunk it. No, you don't have to debunk nothing, honey, because how does the X wind up between two trees? It just don't get there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not way back in the woods, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, bears don't know how to make X's.
No, it was a skunk.
Squirrel, army of squirrels with ropes and pulleys.
You know, so.
Yeah, and bears don't sit in the woods either.
No.
Right.
And use rabbits to wipe themselves.
You know, I mean, come on. Bears don't set 3-year-old children or 4-year-old children in the middle of bushes without a scratch on them. Literally, what was it? Geez, it was like 12 miles from where he went missing. Something like that. And it was like a half a mile from his aunt's house or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds to me like something's been watching.
Oh yeah.
Out in the woods, saw this little kid wander off. You'd be like, "Hey, I know this kid. He don't belong here. Let me go take him home."
Exactly.
I don't know.
It's all questions that we all need to find the answers to, but in a nonchalant way, you know,
in a civilized way.
Yeah.
You know, it's there's some people out there that think, oh, because I experienced this, that's the way it is. Well, no, your experience
one of many facets.
That particular individual, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even me and Lewis have discussed. Lewis is 2-hour drive from me south to my area. You know, we're 2 hours apart. And his do similar but different stuff than mine do. You know? So it all depends on how they were raised, what they have to work with, their geography. You know, I mean, it's all variable, even with that short distance. Dogs.
Yeah, herd of dogs over there.
Yeah.
Mine are being quiet tonight. Yeah.
I know.
And the bird, you don't hear them.
I don't hear the bird.
God. The bird. No, I haven't heard the bird or the dogs.
You've seen my bird, though.
I've seen it.
Yeah, you seen that big bruiser with his big bill. So, well, hopefully one day we can all get together and just put it together. You know, put the pieces of the puzzle and set it straight. You know, with the knowledge of some people who've had more experiences, just like Duke. You know, he knows a lot about what's out there, and that's another reason why I like listening to him, because he tells you the truth about different things. You know.
Oh yeah.
What's out there? What he's experienced. You know.
You know, I mean, even like people in the chat, you got Crow Creek Cryptids, you got Boots on the Ground with Barb, you know, I mean, they've all had different experiences. They're similar, but they're also different because they were dealing with those different individuals.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the different personalities, the different attitudes, the different ways they were brought up, you know, just like people. So just like humans, you know?
Yeah.
Well, my friend Pat's in the chat room, Blue Eyed Northerner. She was actually when I first met her, I told this a while back of how she saw the Sasquatch shadow when I went to Falk to go meet her and Lady in the Woods and a couple other people.
Oh no, the tent.
Yeah, how it walked around the tent. I heard crunch, 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 and I had the lantern, and she saw the shadow because she was a tent, and behind us, and she saw the shadow come up and back off, and then come up and back off, and she said she actually saw the shape of the head and all.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I definitely think they frequent campsites a
Yeah.
lot more than people think. It's just like I said earlier, the general public isn't tuned into noticing that kind of stuff.
No,
You know, so
Nope.
but that place where we was at is actually a hot spot for Sasquatch activity. I mean, to be honest with you, like I said, the movie of Boggy Creek has fascinated me since I was little, and we seen it at the drive-in movie theater. I remember that. I remember like sitting behind my dad in we had one of them. My dad had an old Ford XL, 1970, and I remember going in the movie theater. It was a big seat in the back. I mean, I could actually lay down and go to sleep. That's how little I was. Although I'm so little. Go ahead. And I remember hanging over the seat and looking and watching the movie, and telling my dad, like, yeah, So that area where we was at, we wasn't too far from the Boggy Creek, but I don't think I would go down in the sulfur bottoms because that's a little bit too creepy for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, William. He's wanting me to come, but the problem with that is my daughter was born on Halloween, so I'm not going to be able to make it for that weekend. I wish I could. I'd like to get to meet everybody.
That's a great day to be born on Halloween.
I know, huh? She's a witch, but I love her.
One of my favorite seasons.
Yeah, I've always did love October. I love it when it gets cool, but of course you can see I'm in short sleeves. Well, with that storm we had, it kind of shuffled through, and we had bad winds. I mean, limbs breaking. Electricity went out, and I mean, thank God it bypassed us, but we need that cool air to come in.
Yes, it's like 60. It was 77 yesterday here from Michigan.
Oh, look at you! It was like 90 something today. I was sweating.
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana weather, and Sharon can vouch for that. So, anyway, wait, he's coming back on.
What did I miss?
You didn't miss nothing.
Well, it's always something in this topic, right?
I'm telling you.
Always something.
I'm holding back. We could go for hours, but I gotta wait for my people at work to call. They keep texting me.
Okay, sweetheart. Well,
I'm talking to them whenever you're ready. You're ready. I'm not going up there just to call.
Well, it's your call. You want to talk some more?
We got. If you guys got anything else, I got. I'm good. Kevin, you got anything?
Well, if there's anybody out there in the chat that has some questions,
there you go.
For Rob, Christy, or myself, just put them in caps. And
I don't need to put them in caps. I could read it. Hey, I got this down packed down. I'm catching up on this StreamYard thing.
Christy's probably read every single sentence in chat since we started.
Oh yeah.
So
she does not miss a beat.
No. We
have one up on everybody else. Then we don't need anybody to put anything in caps.
Yeah.
Nope.
I can't see the chat. I don't even know who's all here. That's okay, though. It just would have distracted me anyway.
Right.
You got to get back to the porn.
Christy's enough of a distraction.
Yeah.
You're a mess.
Moving forward.
So Rob, how far are you from the spot with the Michigan Dog Man?
3.5, 4 hours. It's actually close by where my encounter was with the Bigfoot. It's in Wexford County. I live in a suburb outside Detroit. So I'm probably, Cadillac, it was about a 4 hour ride, and the Dog Man in Wexford County, it's about 3.5 hours. So I'm really close to a lot of great areas. And that's why I always kick myself because, I just work a boatload, and I'm not one of these guys to just pack up and go. Now I haven't worked in 3 weeks, but I'm like, I got a monitor. I watch it right from the house here, but I got some good people. I'm just like, I'm hands on, I just can't stand, just not doing anything. And I got to get off of that. I get it. I should go see a psychiatrist maybe.
No.
But no, yeah, I love the state of Michigan. It's got everything. It's got the Bigfoot. It's got Dog Man. It's got we actually got a lot of weird in Port Huron area in the Thumb and the Mitten. This part of Michigan, there's like a lot of paranormal activity, haunted houses, cemeteries. I'm 4 hours from everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of history involved with just the entire state of Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Salem witch trials and everything, you know what I mean? So
yeah, oh yeah, and you even hear about like the Dog Man. I guess they did a jingle or something. How it originated it was a radio station back in like 1967. Came out with a jingle about the Dog Man, and it turned out just to be something to be funny. And then several months later, someone actually saw a Dog Man. Oh. So that's kind of where it originated from, And right. Then, so yeah, I mean, you can look it up. It's pretty creepy around here. Now where I live, north of here.
I don't know exactly where this took place, but I think it's called the Gable film.
Yeah.
Is that Michigan also?
I don't know if that's Michigan. I've seen the film.
Right.
It could be. I'm not sure.
It might be.
It might
be because they had snowmobiles out there. And,
I kind of dismissed that only because I was watching Linda Godfrey said that she talked to the guy that made the video and said somebody was wearing a ghillie suit. So I kind of lost interest in that. But when I first saw it, I'm like, holy cow, that is badass looking.
Right. That was the same thing I had when I first saw it. I mean, the way that I saw the same thing, that the person came out and said, I made that. It was just a film that I made, and this is the body, and I dug a hole and laid in it and all that stuff, But that just goes to show how we could still make that kind of crap quality, with the camera and the fuzz on it and stuff like that to really make it look like it came from the 70s.
Right.
We could still do that today, So take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah. With today's technology, you just got a lot of it's your own gut,
It is for sure.
And if you can talk to the person that actually has the video or the picture to get a chance to vet them a little bit, because a lot of us can smell BS, I think, to an extent, And then again, maybe not, it just depends. I like to believe that a lot of people that give encounters are telling the truth. Since I've seen one, I believe most of the people anyways. And I think listening to an encounter is more believable than seeing some of these videos, because some of these videos are like totally like whatever,
Right. I mean, I can attest for the BS. I had a while back, I had received emails from a gentleman who claimed he was part of this special covert ops team designated to go out and hunt these aggressive Bigfoot, and used a bunch of your average everyday military jargon that anybody would know. And then he proceeded to say that he tried committing suicide because of the dreams he was having because of it.
Oh, wow.
So I called absolute BS. Turns out it was for a prank show.
Yeah.
And but it just goes to show how far some people will go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Suicide is not something to mess with.
Yes,
in a
some of y'all
joking
talk
manner
about
or
that.
anything. And for someone to play that card really, really hit me hard. And I was just like, dude, you got to be a real POS.
You know, the thing about that too is, not to get off the subject, I think a lot of people, I don't know about you, the three of us, but I know two people committed suicide in my life. One was a cousin and one was my godfather, you know. And when somebody prank about that, that's just it's
the lowest of the low.
Yeah. I'm reading here. Duke says Detroit has Sasquatch living in the abandoned suburbs, according to one report. I like you to hold that report. Sasquatch in the suburbs of Detroit. You know, hey, you know, there's so many. You know what? I tell you what, there are abundance of abandoned homes. I mean, you got acres upon acres of uncharted, not uncharted, burnt down homes. Nobody goes through there. It's not inhabited.
I know in some areas there's entire neighborhoods, right, that have just been pretty much abandoned since the auto manufacturing.
Yep.
You know, was vacated. I don't doubt it.
And you know what's cool too that I like to explore in Detroit? You know, I'm off of the Detroit River, and the Detroit River runs for miles upon miles, and a lot of it borders the city of Detroit and other suburbs, right? And there are underground abandoned tunnels underneath, you know, the earth underneath, you know, tunnels underground that some have been explored and some have not been explored. There's a lot that haven't even been found. And I tell you what, you know, you talk about Bigfoot, you talk about waterways, you talk about tunnels, you talk about underground. I'm sure there are some hanging out in Detroit, you know. You know, I probably, well, I'm not going to say. I was about to say something about Detroit and the Sasquatch.
I think Dewey Lake Monster is a Gugway. The behavior and general description match sightings.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
We'll hold it to you. Rick from the pawn shop. Dude, when I first seen him, I was like, when he came on Bigfoot Explorer, I was like, wait a minute, you got a celebrity coming on? I'm like, wait, what?
That's funny. And I think Rick has had a mild goatee, like he has.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. He kind of goes back and forth with that on the show.
And then he says he looks like somebody else. I can't remember. I think it's a wrestler. I'm not sure. I was calling him Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's going to kill me.
I heard everything you said, Christy.
But Rob,
you know what? What?
I said you love me.
I love you.
Oh,
hey, but listen, though, I've signed autographs as Rick Harrison. I don't look like I'm growing a beard because I never had a beard, so I'm going to check it out. Christy disapproves already. I already can tell, but I was at a Detroit Tiger baseball game 4 years ago, and people were looking at me, and I signed many an autograph. Yeah, I'm Rick Harrison. I said I was. They said I was. I said, yep. One time I was shopping at Kroger for Christmas time. This lady staring me down. Are you Rick Harrison? We took a selfie. I signed her arm. My husband's gonna love this picture. You know, I said, see you later. Love Rick. You know, I signed her arm. Love Rick. And I took a selfie. True stories too. I can't make this stuff up. People think I'm him, and I guess I don't think I look like him. Today I don't.
That's funny. That is funny.
Oh man. Oh, you crack me up.
That's hilarious.
Some guy got in an argument with me and said I was Rick Harrison. That's how bad it sometimes gets.
I know you're him. I know you're him. Quit lying.
Yeah, I like what Duke had to
You
say.
just want the paparazzi around.
Oh,
Oh, hilarious.
Look what Duke said. Step into the Slim Jim.
Yeah, I like that better, Duke.
Hilarious. Hilarious. It sucks being it must suck being a celebrity impersonator. So good. People insist that you're him.
Oh yeah, guy wanted to fight me.
Wow.
I used to get now, I've been my bar location. I've been there 13 years, but I used to get people come in because they thought I was actually, Rick Harrison, Now that's kind of gone. And every once in a while, what are you doing working here? What are you doing? I'm not him.
Where's my money? You screwed me out of my antique pair of drawers.
Yeah. So now I'll critique people. I'll say, "Hey, man, let me see your jewelry. I'll appraise it for you."
What you need to do is
I'll give you $20 is worth like 200. No, I'm kidding. I'm not like that.
You need to pull some bottom shelf liquor off of it. Pull some bottom shelf liquor out and be like, "This is the new stuff. It's 250 years old." At a freaking, it's tequila from, 250-year-old tequila from Mexico. It's only $25 a shot.
Yeah, there you go. One thing I am going to do though, because I've been to Vegas a couple of times, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that pawn shop one day and just kind of walk, kind of dress like them and see what type of reaction I get. That'd be cool.
That wasn't me blowing wind, okay? That was my phone. It died.
My computer almost died. I had to plug it in.
Oh, no, well, my phone died. I got to plug it in right quick. But I have no outlets over here. All my outlets are taken up over here. So I have to leave. All right. Well, we're going on an hour and 32 minutes.
Yeah.
So what y'all want to do? Keep going or hang it up? Whatever y'all want. I think everybody wants to hang out.
Yeah. What's up to you guys? We've kind of gotten off the Bigfoot subject we've been talking about. It's now become the SoCal free-for-all. Which is fine by me. Hey, I'm not going anywhere. So it's up to you guys.
Don't matter to me. I'm not getting yelled at yet.
Yeah, not yet, huh?
If there was something important, she'd come to the window right there. And,
look what Bill and Carol said. Elvis has entered the building.
Now we have two celebrities here.
There we go. Yeah, we're raking in the celebrities tonight, aren't we? Rick Harrison, Elvis.
Ratings are going through the roof, man. You're glad you had me on now.
Telling you, dude. Telling you. Couldn't have been any better.
Well, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. It's kind of spurred them on. Christy told me last week. I said, yeah, I'd like to talk about it every year, I guess, 6 months. It's nice and fresh.
What?
Yeah, I'm watching in the other room. That's it.
She coming in to yell at you. She got you.
Told you.
She got you.
Yep.
Good wife.
Yep.
Good wife.
I know, huh?
You tell I said that. She's a
actually.
good wife. Always taking care of you.
She is the best. Keeps me on my toes and keeps me going the right direction. So
that's how you gotta have it, sweetheart. You gotta have.
Hey, we won't keep you in trouble. I should call work anyway and see what they're doing. And I tell you what, I enjoy being on the show. Thanks for inviting me.
No,
it's been a pleasure.
You
Been a pleasure having you, hearing your encounter and your story, and hopefully you'll get some free time to go take some of that knowledge you've learned over time and get out there with it And definitely go check out that red barn because I want to know.
Well, I tell you what, if COVID hits us again and I have to shut down, that might be an opportune time. But then I'll just be ticked off.
You
who
just be
knows?
been out of
Who
shape
knows?
the whole time, right?
Yeah, I would enjoy it. I go in there with an attitude, wouldn't get crap, So
I'd keep you out of that mental part. You know that. I always live your
I know,
spiritual.
I know, Christy.
I do that for everybody. You know that.
Well, I hope you get out there soon. And if you do, document it.
Yes.
Right.
Document it.
Write it down. Call me.
Right.
I've had some people call me when they was out walking in the woods. Hey, yeah. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay. Just be careful.
Or even better, be one of them people out there with your camera.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, indeed.
So,
now, don't get off when I end it, okay? Rob, I got something to tell you. So
okay, good. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Everybody.
Well, we want to thank everybody for coming, especially Duke. I got to talk to you, Duke, and also Tony Hill. I need to talk to you too. So, and William, I need to talk to you as well. So I'll be making my rounds on talking to people, and Duke knows why. So
Christy's putting in the work. Let me tell you.
I'm trying. We need to get these people on here to talk with us and have a good time.
Hey. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right, good show, guys.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us.
Yes, thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody for coming. Y'all have a wonderful and blessed night, and as well as into next week. Safe,
Right. We're going into Halloween.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
There'll be some good podcasts and videos up or channels opening up some good stories. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I need to walk outside with my computer while I have people on, and because I'm in the middle of decorating the house, so I got several things that I got to put together. So yeah, I got a 6 foot tall Reaper. So yeah, I got to stand on like a little box or something to put the head on. So I'm too short for that. It sucks being small, but you find ways to manage to do the different things, So
that's right.
All right, well, hold on, everybody. Have a good night. Duke, Sharon, Patrick, Tony, Gordo, Andy, Carol, and Bill, Pat, Paula, Andy. Who else? I'm forgetting a lot of people here. And everybody else. Y'all have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Good night. Thank you.
Stay on, Rob.
Yeah.